Hey everybody, Mike Miller, Herald Times, joined by columnist Jeremy Price, coming to you from Mackey Arena after Indiana's 70-55 loss to Purdue. It's four in a row now for the Hoosiers, who just don't look right. Don't look right in a whole lot of ways right now. A game where the struggle with the line, just struggle to shoot, period, really. Purdue heats up early in the second half, creates separation in a game where Indiana started poorly, ended the second half poorly, played well in the middle, but that was really about it.
Yeah, pretty much. And I don't know that there was a lot surprising about the way this one played out in a lot of ways. I mean, Purdue's been playing pretty well lately coming in. Indiana's obviously going in the opposite direction, and you're talking a game here at Mackey Arena, so I don't think it was any shock that that's the way it went. Obviously, Indiana did itself no favors. I mean, you look for ways that Indiana could come in here and steal this one or hang in this one and try and steal it late and, get to the free throw line, stay out of foul trouble, make threes. Pretty much none of that happened today. As a matter of fact, most of it happened very poorly on all those fronts. From Romeo Langford and Rob Finney in early foul trouble, shooting where they wind up from the free throw line. It was bad. It was 5 of 16.
It was in 30s percentage-wise, yeah.
I mean, they shot better from three than from the free throw line, and even that wasn't great. And really, that was only bolstered with a couple late threes that pushed that up a little bit, basically. So, yeah, not a lot went right from an Indiana perspective at all.
Pretty frustrating too for Indiana in a game where you actually get that third scorer in Justin Smith as a career or season high, I think 15 points. You see Romeo Langford, his first game of the season under double figures, finished with 4 points. Just a real slow go for Romeo today. As you said, battled foul trouble, only played 6 minutes in the first half, went scoreless in that period. Came out, he was making a concerted effort to get to the rim early. But this was a game, I think he finished like 2 for 10 or something from the field. A game where he just couldn't get going. They were taking a lot away from him. Concerted effort to really take away Romeo in this game. But yeah, this is it's one of those days where you look at the box score and you say, man, you finally had that third scoring effort from Justin Smith. But lo and behold, it's Romeo's lowest output of the year.
Yeah, kind of fitting that that's the way it goes. You finally get that third option to step up, but by and large, I think the story of the day was just the fact that Purdue exploited all the liabilities that this Indiana team has, and teams continue to do that in increasing fashion, which has really led to this 4-game losing streak. Obviously, Indiana has some roster deficiencies, whether that's a byproduct of recruiting, injuries, those kind of things, but the pieces that kind of were finding a way to fit together and sort of the sum of the parts was overcoming early in this season is not happening anymore. Basically, teams are finding a way to kind of splinter this Indiana team apart. They're laying off guys like Zach McRoberts, who finally made a shot with about 4.5 minutes left, I think it was. First points in Big Ten play for McRoberts. First made field goal, I think, since
November. It was the Duke game, actually, I think.
Okay, yeah, there. So, obviously he's missed some time with injury and not been right, but he made the start today, but for defensive purposes. But you're giving and you're getting, and it feels like that's what you're doing with just about every guy on this team in a lot of ways. You're giving and you're getting, and right now it seems like Indiana's giving a lot more than it's getting, whatever it's doing with these guys, whether it's with McRoberts' offense to defense. You flip that around, you throw a Demezy Anderson in, hoping to get some offense, and he winds up giving up things defensively. Just doesn't seem like any button that's being pushed is working right now.
Yeah, no, you're actually right. I mean, it's a sort of situation where you thought you'd see more Demezy Anderson. You thought you'd see more guys from the end of the bench maybe find their way into this one, especially early, which we did. We saw Demezy Anderson about midway through the first period. But again, it is a situation where he's a liability basically anywhere that he's not hitting three-pointers, essentially. That's really all his game is. But at the same time, there is that trade-off you kind of have to weigh if you're Indiana right now. You had to come into this game willing to try new things, which it seems they were at least willing to do that with some of the personnel plays early. It was a situation where clearly Demezy Anderson and Clifton Moore had passed Evan Fitzner on the depth chart. I don't know. Do we see Evan Fitzner?
Yeah, Fitzner did not play today. Yeah.
So we'd seen those guys kind of rise up the depth chart a little bit here. But even so, again, you're kind of having to weigh that balance by starting Zach McRoberts in the game. Al Durham, he had to feel his way through. Deron Davis is obviously not himself, but even playing Zach McRoberts, you're obviously the give and the take there. But it was kind of interesting. I guess he did defensively have some of the production you'd like to see from Zach McRoberts, but again, even coming into this game, he wasn't really giving a whole much on the defensive end. You thought you would see a little bit more Demezy Anderson, but again, it's just that bench is real short. You're not getting a whole lot out of those guys. You can't really Archie Miller clearly doesn't trust Demetrius Anderson more than 5 minutes he's willing to play him right now. So you're just kind of stuck in this area where you got 5, 6, 7, maybe 7 guys. Really nowhere else to go from there.
Yeah, I'm not even sure they're sure right now who those 7 guys are, really. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
we didn't see Devontae Green very much at all in the second half today. Really, most of his time came in the first half.
Mm-hmm.
Deron Davis played a handful of minutes. I mean, honestly, I'm not sure he should even be out there playing.
Mm-hmm.
He just has absolutely no lift whatsoever, and when he runs, it just looks painful, to be honest, right now. Obviously, Fitzner didn't play today. You try to give Clifton Moore some time, and I think he did okay in stretches, but then there was one stretch in the second half. I think they tried to give Juwan Morgan a quick blow, threw Clifton Moore in there, and Travion Williams lights him up 2 possessions in a row down in the post. So it's just kind of where Indiana's at right now, that it just doesn't seem like it's getting what it needs. And a lot of the talk is offensively, but really this team just isn't been as good defensively as what it was earlier in the year. And this team needs the defense to kickstart the offense, and right now that's not happening.
It hasn't happened really since maybe outside of the Illinois game this year. Every game since Maryland, you've seen sort of a downturn in that defensive ability, whether it's giving up, I think they've given up over a point per possession in every single game. And I think they went up a long stretch in the first 2 months where they were holding, I think, every opponent but Duke, and I think they held Louisville right to a point per possession. But it's a situation where, yeah, you're absolutely right, where they're not feeding that offense. If they're feeding that offense, they're feeding poison, basically. Just not be able to get started, get some of the shots they want, get in transition, get some of those easy baskets, which is really what this team really needs, I think, right now to get going.
And then the flip side of that is they're feeding easy baskets to the other team, which is really what happened at the end of the first half today. IU sitting there actually it was a couple free throws, you give up a layup, turnover, another layup, another turnover, and next thing you know, you're down 7 at the half, basically. And this team just doesn't. And then Purdue came out and hit a couple threes early in the second half, and this team just doesn't have the firepower to come back from 15 down.
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't right now.
So. It's easy to get down on this team right now, given the way things have trended the last 2 weeks. But is it fair to say now that this team just kind of is what it is? I mean, there will probably be sunnier days ahead in some of the games, especially when you get to the second part of this Big Ten schedule, when you have a more friendlier home schedule to play some of these games. But it doesn't seem that Indiana's going to get measurably healthier. If anything, they're going to get more and more tired as guys wear down the stretch. And see some of these freshmen wear down as they hit the wall. It just kind of seems that this team really just is what it is. So right now, probably looking at, I don't even want to talk about the NCAA tournament right now, but it just kind of is what it is. This team is very flawed construction-wise. When you look at the roster he inherited, the roster that they're still trying to develop. You make your own comments on the development as you see fit, but I guess this is just the Indiana team right now.
Yeah, and that's where freshness-wise, you're hoping that you can bring along a Demetrius Anderson, a Clifton Moore, maybe even a Jake Forrester, trying and get some guys who have some fresh legs involved and give you, even if it's just 2 minutes here, 2 minutes there, on each side of a TV timeout to give Romeo and Juwan a blow or whatever. I mean, you've got to get that somehow, some way, and what you hope is you get something positive during those little 2-3 minute stretches as well.
So it's a 4-game losing streak. Not going to be back home for another 6 days, and Tuesday you're at Northwestern. Certainly a winnable game per se, but
it's one they need badly.
You definitely need it badly. You needed the Nebraska game badly. The Maryland game, frankly, you need it badly. As that team was transitioning to that point and positioning itself, hoping for a top 4 finish in the Big Ten, you need that. But yeah, it's a situation where you know what's at stake. You got to come out and play like it. You got to figure out some of these issues on the fly. I'm not sure that there's really easy solutions to a lot of these issues, but again, if you can maybe find a way to fix some of the defensive lapses, to maybe stop getting it spread out as they were saying that they feel like they are, maybe then you can maybe see some slight improvement start to take shape.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you have to hope for eventually at some point. I mean, right now it just seems like Indiana's catching everybody at the wrong time. Pretty much, Maryland's playing the best probably it's played all season. Purdue's probably playing the best it's played all season. You're going to Northwestern. Then you come back home and you take on Michigan, who's just lost for the first time today. So obviously that's no bargain either. So you just got to fight through this stretch, and it's probably one of those things where you just need something positive to happen at some point. You get something positive happening in the right direction, and next thing you know, it can snowball the other way. And like you said, the schedule certainly turns in Indiana's favor eventually here. Right now, obviously very road heavy to start this month of January, but you get on the back end of things. There's certainly a chance to gain some momentum down the stretch of this season if they can just hold on and survive right now.
Yeah, for sure. We'll see what happens. Again, tip-off 9 p.m. Eastern, I believe, at Northwestern Tuesday night. We'll see you there.